This is a strange time. New time. We are a community. A community is a social unit. We're still here. We are still connected. Our best is yet to come. When outside calls, we will bounce back together. We will make it.
Hello and welcome to the Digital-Motorsports. Hello and welcome to the Digital-Motorsports Porsche GT from Oulton Park. But this is round 5 of the championship, sponsored by Porsche Centre Dublin. I am Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me today is Jack Canane with Sam Kumo on the cameras on Apex Racing TV and on the iRacing Esports Network. Jack, so far we've seen a really dominant season from Oscar Mangan. He's looking to once again continue his dominance, but we come to one of the most elite sections of the season, Oulton Park, and one of the most tricky tracks of the season as well.
Absolutely, of course. We were here during the TCR Championship as well, and that fight came down to the very last corner when we were out here last time, which was an incredible fight with Keith Dempsey. There was a bit of bumping going on as they came through the last corner. Hopefully we see something along the lines of that tonight for these guys, and Oulton has provided some fantastic racing over the course of the season, and these guys of course are going to hopefully put on another great show for us. And of course Mangan, he's been completely dominant. Nobody could stop him. Nobody can stop him by the looks of it, because with the drop score he should still have the championship lead coming out of here with Brian McManus, I believe, in second. And there's a good battle going on in the amateur championship as well, the Pro-Am class, between Condelis and a couple of other guys there. And of course we spoke to Arturis last week, and he drives with hand controls, which is extremely interesting. We'll see if he's able to grab a championship. It'd be something else for a driver racing with hand controls to win the championship, wouldn't it, Sam?
Absolutely, it was absolutely incredible when we were speaking to him. Just dropped that in there, as if it was nothing. It was, it really was quite remarkable to hear about that one. He's 100% comfortable with it either, especially with the braking. He has done a brilliant job so far this season to do all that. So we're currently in a 12-minute qualifying session. The drivers have been practicing already, I'm sure, throughout the week as well in these GT4 cars. Of course, fantastic news from iRacing that the BMW M4 GT4 is now available to drive. However, it's not available on this stage. We're near the end of the championship, so we're just going to keep it with the Porsche 4. But no, very exciting stuff from iRacing. The fact that that is an option that certainly will be consider for future seasons of this championship. So currently in the 12-minute qualifying session, you can see how we're halfway through it. Then we will have a race 1. The starting order will be based on the qualifying result of qualifying, and then we will have a second race later on, which will be the race 1 results reversed. The top 20 will be all inverted, and that will be the grid for the final race. So plenty at stake today. As also you might just notice the camera is shaking ever so slightly. I believe it is shaking. It is certainly shaking on my end.
It is, yeah.
And that is another new feature of our racing. Let us know in the comments whether you like it or not. It'd be quite interesting to see what you guys think of it. So yeah, keep us tuned on the comment section.
Yeah, the camera shaking. I think we were discussing before we came on, is like it almost looks like there's somebody kind of in the back of the car, scared while they're on board. As we're on board with Andrew Watson at the moment, the World Endurance driver, and Aston Martin Jr. as well. Fantastic to meet him. This is from Belfast in the United Kingdom, up in Northern Ireland. Took a win in Brands Hatch. Currently, Oscar Mangan, big surprise in the current pole position by a margin of 0.3 of a second over Adrian Campfield, Brian McManus, Tom Ingram in 4th right there, then Dowling, then Watson. If you're wondering what the colours are, the red distinguishes the pro drivers, and the blue is the Pro-Am class. There it is at the top of your screen. And of course, the championship is not divided. The drivers, of course, are all in one championship. However, the guys did make a just for fun a championship points division for the Pro-Am class, and currently it is actually Arturis Condelis actually leading that championship with the drop scores, and Mangan, of course, leading the Pro Championship by a margin of 4 points at the moment over Brian McManus, and Adrian Canfield is not far behind. So Mangan pretty much has it in the bag at this rate. It's going to take, I mean, a catastrophe from Mangan for him to lose this championship. McManus in there in third. He essentially needs to win both races, and Mangan needs to have any chance.
Yeah, that would have to absolutely be the case. Remember, Magnus have won every one of the race ones, I believe, this season, and all by a decent margin as well. I think Franz Hatchie was pushed, to be fair, by Canfield, dare I say. It may have been someone else. But Snedston, last time out, he was absolutely crushing the order, was Mang. So if he could get 5 race ones this season, that would be pretty epic. He also got the double as well at Snedston last week as well. So if he could end the season on 4 consecutive race wins, 5 consecutive race ones, that would be pretty mega. So yeah, it would take something quite incredible for anyone to get close to Mangan. But I guess this circuit, Jack. Proximity of the walls, especially with the chicanes we have here, you can easily smash into those rather deceivingly tyre barriers. You could still damage a bit of the car, I guess, for Mangan, so that's got to be a worry for him.
Yeah, definitely he's got to be thinking about that, because this is a really tough track to overtake, which in Mangan's case, if he's able to check out front, and it could be a challenge for him to keep his focus out in the lead. But yeah, you're right, he did win pretty much every single race won so far this season, and Snetterton, of course, that win came down to something that we didn't think was going to pose an issue, and that was fuel, with the drivers having to come in for a late pit stop, and unfortunately one of the drivers losing out to Mangan by the smallest of margins last time, losing the win by not too much, but it was all it took. Was that with 2 minutes left of the qualifying session now. It's Mangan, Canfield, McManus, and Tom Ingram. I have to say, dare I say, that might be his best qualifying of the season there, Sam.
It's quite weird to say that. I think Ingram might be the most improved driver of the season. He's certainly the one that sticks out to me. He always struggles with qualifying, doesn't he? But if he's 4.5 tenths of a second off in qualifying, that bodes very well for the race. He could be a proper danger for the race. Hasn't actually got a podium, I believe, so far this season. Got a couple of fourth place. And by the way, to all the audience, that is, Tom Ingram from the British Touring Car Championship. So fantastic to get a real-life driver in the series, along with a couple of other real-life drivers as well. But no, Ingram's been very impressive, and once again, of course, we go to a cycle where he's got plenty of experience round. Seems like everyone's set their qualifying times then, so just a reminder, the drivers can only set 3 qualifying times. It's a 12-minute session, but they're limited to 3 qualifying times, so that is why you're not seeing anyone else on circuit, and that is why the grid for this last 10 seconds should stay pretty much the same until we start gridding up for this penultimate race of the season.
Yeah, just having a look at the track temperature, 24 degrees Celsius, quite cold, I would say, for the track. So the guys would struggle to get some temperature in the tyres, but then we come to the heat, and it's up to about between 30 and now. So we go to heat race 1 shortly, and of course the second race, the second heat, is the top 20 become inverted as always, so there's almost a reverse grid race. But Mangan is on pole for this one, with Adrian Canfield, who's the man who's been chasing him all season, in second. Now Canfield and McManus are embroiled in the battle for second in the championship, so they've got a lot on the line here. They've got something to battle. So Canfield has the upper hand at the moment. McManus is in third. Tom Ingram is in fourth. An impressive qualifying there from Adam Dowling in 5th place. He's being very happy with that. Andrew Watson sitting nicely in 6th. Rob Moore, Dave Maguire, Harry McGovern, and Valentinas Marchenkovic. Jordan Kelly, good to see him back again in 11th place. And then Arturas Kondelis, he's leading the Pro-Am class. He's got pole for Pro-Am, and he is also leading the championship in the Pro-Am class as well. Peter McCann, 13th. Rory O'Shea, Arias Mantis, Masterson, Pigeon, Hederman, Sergio Graben, and Paolo Breme. Then further down the grid, you've got Liam Atkins, Johnny McMullen, Tony Stack, Jean Montero, Dear Matumi, Dave Collier, and Michael McCarthy in 27th. And the guys go all the way down, snaking their way down the pit straight. But there's a lot of cars there, and it's Mangan doing his usual thing of being the final guy to get on the grid.
What a pain that is. He's almost as annoying as the driver who seems to be revving up his engine out there as well, deafening the other guys. But he is now onto the grid, is Mangan. Still got Lewis Ward coming to the grid. He doesn't look like he's going to make it.
Unfortunate for Lewis Ward, but Oscar Mangan on pole position. Campfield alongside him as we go green here in Oulton Park for Heat Race 1, and it's a great start from Oscar Mangan. It's a good one from Campfield. It's a great one from the top 4 cars. They're filing nicely into turn number 1. Andrew Watson gets a great start. He's up to 5th, goes up the inside of Adam Dowling into turn 1 as they file through this really narrow turn 1. Looking all good for these guys so far. So Ingram, he's having a go. McManus straight through to 3rd place. Great start from Tom Ingram. Off the road goes Campfield. Campfield way off into Narnia on the exit of the hairpin right there. And that's going to really cost him. Cold tyres right there have just cost him big time. And as well, there's been an issue. Peter McCann, that's Peter McCann. And I believe Kundelis was also involved in that one. So the champion leader of the Pro-Am class is also involved. Tony Stack, Liam Atkins were all embroiled in that one. As we all even more up the front. And yeah, there's problems there. Rob Moore and a couple more involved. Harry McGovern up to 4th place. Marchenkovic is in that one. There's lots happening on this lap number 1. And I think this could be an issue with the tyres right here. The guys have not got the tyres of temperature right now.
It's a pretty cool circuit, as we were talking about before. Mid-20s, this is in the morning within iRacing, and just lots of drivers dropping it by themselves with these cold tyres. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit more tricky now for these guys who also got a spin back at the chicane. And and who is that officer? Is that no? Is that Atkins off the?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Liam Atkins down in 29th place. So I'm just trying to see who's actually gone off the circuit so far in this race. But there's certainly been lots of chopping and changing and a massive division in the track now. I think at least 10 drivers have gone off the circuit at some point. There's Harry McGovern up into 4th position. So Ingram up into 2nd. McManus only dropped down to 3rd. And it's really tight behind them. But you can see these guys are now 9 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, that is how quickly it can go. You've got, I tell you what, Jordan Kelly starting from 11th up to 5th. He's kept himself clean. Adam Dowling's had an issue. He's dropped down to 9th place. Now, yeah, guys are dropping on the... Oh, dear. Dave Maguire upside down in turn 1. That's not the right way up. Coming through turn 1. I would imagine there was contact there between himself and possibly Adam Dowling. Dowling kept going, but that's really not... That's the first time I've ever seen a car flip through there. So let's see. Yeah, that is very much Dave Maguire inverted in turn 1.
I think those were anti-gravitational tyres on that machine, or at least 2 of them were. And it was. He's just gonna get. That's a bit silly, isn't there? I'm sure most people who've gone to Oulton Park knows that that's not actually something that happens if you just have.
Are you sure?
Well, Steve, I haven't tested it. Let's ask Tom Ingram after the race if that's something that happens if you run a little bit wide at turn 1. It's quite a severe penalty, I must say. But no, that was a little bit silly, and let's cost him in the race because you can't get back onto your tyres again if you're on your side unless you get a little bit of a helping hand. So yeah, that's a big shame for him.
Well, Oscar Mangan leads, Tom Ingram 2nd, Bob McManus 3rd. We now look at the battle for 4th place. This is Harry McGovern with Jordan Kelly, who's kept his nose clean so far. Adrian Campfield. Tell you what, Pat Masterson, Ronan Hederman are up a lot of positions where they began. So Masterson and Hederman are 1st and 2nd in the Pro-Am class with, of course, our championship leader, Arturas Kundelis, into the Pro-Am class. He's got involved in a lap 1 instance. Valentinos Marchenkovic is back into 10th where he started, grabbing up to 12th. So there is Marchenkovic just getting past Aaron Kerry, that'll be, into the last corner. He's got ahead, and of course Marchenkovic, a race winner in Donington earlier this season. Sergio Graban just having a quick look at his car. Looks like the bonnet is firmly down, which is always a good sign for Sergio. And yeah, if you haven't seen the Brands Hatch race, I recommend you go watch heat race number 1, where this man completed the race with the bonnet up completely in front of his windscreen. But looking all good for Sergio Graban. I'm sure one of the GT4 updates was in fact the bonnet update, just to make sure it stays down, Sam.
Well, absolutely. So I've heard that Sergio hasn't been able to sleep ever since that happened, just thinking constantly that he can see a bonnet straight in front of him. But fortunately, he can seemingly see right now. However, I think in his wing mirrors, he can see Watson getting very close to him, who we know is a very quick driver. Andrew Watson won at race 2 at Brands Hatch. Also gained a lot of places as well on that occasion in race 1, and was running much higher. Was Watson must have had an issue on the open lap. Also, Ian Malone just dropping behind Robert Moore there. That all seemed very simple. A lot of these drivers with damage. Remember, they do have at least one faster. I think they may even have 2, and so that means that they can come into the pits and get whatever damage they've got completely fixed instantly. However, of course, you do have to trundle down the pits in order to do that. So it's probably not worth it. So you might see some drivers who pitted after their lap 1 damage really storming up to these midfield drivers by the end of the race with much cleaner and much faster cars.
Yeah, interesting to note, Ingram's matching Oscar Mangan out front for pace. It's really good, really encouraging so far. A couple of hundreds between them. So actually, this is not the kind of drive that we kind of see from Oscar Mangan normally. Normally, he's about 2-3 seconds ahead. But Mangan is not pulling away from Ingram and McManus too much. Oh, 2.7 seconds. I eat my words, but Ingram is matching him for pace. But I would imagine that Mangan's built enough of a gap now that he can sort of settle into his race and make sure that he doesn't make any of the silly mistakes we kind of saw from the drivers early on with the cold tyres.
Yeah, this should be a much safer part of the race. McGovern and Kelly very close to one another. That's a nice move from... and now there's contact between the two of them. McGovern stays ahead. I think this is McGovern defending against Kelly, I believe, who did close in by about quarter of a second on that last lap. Now he goes to the outside. Really tricky to pass into this next chicane, though. It's so tight with the tyres on the inside of the circuit. It's very much just a single file corner, and it's very tricky to kind of get the cut back as well, because it's tricky to go for kind of surprise moves. So if we can take the same line through here, and then of course up this hill as well. Tricky to really use your momentum too much an advantage. Kelly's going to try to prove me wrong, however, might swerve to the right just to get the inside line, but he's not quite close enough. Look how Campfield is catching up to these guys as well. Was running up in second place at the start. Was Campfield qualified on the front row of the grid, and he can see 1 or even 2 positions as a potential for these next few corners, and still Kelly just cannot find a way past McGovern. Here comes Campfield, though, gets the inside going into turn 1.
Yeah, Campfield trying to recover after the mistake on lap number 1. Is he going to get past Jordan Kelly into turn 1, late on the brakes, up the inside? And can he just shut the door? Yes, he can. So he slots in front of Jordan Kelly. Campfield and Kelly, of course, very experienced racers. Jordan Kelly racing in the Formula V series over here in Ireland. Campfield, a very experienced single-seater racer as well. So these guys know their way around racing. So I doubt Jordan Kelly will want to have fought too much. Gets a twitch on the exit there, though. So now I think Jordan will just latch onto the back of Campfield. He knows Campfield's got the pace, so let's see if they can negotiate their way past the car of Harry McGovern, who's running very well in 4th place. Pat Masterson running nicely in 7th. Adam Dowling trying to recover in 8th. Then it's Hederman in 9th, and Marchenkovic, Kerry, Moore, Malone, Montero, McMullen, Breme, Watson down to 17th. Graben, Yamantas, and Mark Burney are your top 20. Mark Burney in current reverse grid pole position. Let's see if Jordan can get back past Campfield, or if Campfield indeed can get past Harry McGovern. Down at the chicane now. So that is Willie Pigeon up the road. Now these guys are actually nearly 12 seconds off the back of Brian McManus. So the top 3 are really have just checked out, and Ingram just kind of gapping McManus just a little bit here. And see if Ingram can better his best results of 4th. Be nice to see him on the podium eventually.
Definitely, it certainly looks like that's going to be comfortable for him today. By the way, the gap between 1st and 20th, Bernie, who will be on reverse grid pole, currently 55 seconds. And, well, at least Bernie is yet to complete 5 laps in this race. Incredible field spread. One of the drivers, actually, Arias Diamantis, came into the pits on lap 1, and he's only in 19th place still. Which kind of shows how far behind, or the issues that a lot of drivers got on that first lap. I'm going to turn you back to the pits. but your Mantis will be very strong, won't he? And you look at that Watson as well in 17th place. There's something else that happened to Watson, perhaps why he's going even further down than I think he was before in 17th. So it could be a very good race too for those guys. Marchenkovic gets him past Hederman for 9th place a bit further up. Marchenkovic now back up 1 place from his start. Also, Aaron Kelly up 18 places, although glitching out a little bit there. Hopefully his connection is alright. He remains in 11th.
Yep, chasing after Ronan Herdeman up ahead of him for 10th, and Rob Moore going with him just behind. Jean Montero doing well there in 14th as well at the moment. So about the halfway mark of this 12-lap race, heading on to lap 7 when we come across the line. Just hearing from a couple of guys as well, that's the changes to the car, of course, there would be the tyres, but also the centre of gravity in the GT4 car has changed. So that would put a lot of drivers off, especially when you're on cold tyres as well. The car handles very differently now, so obviously a lot of guys getting caught out by that, but we stick with Aaron Carey, who's under pressure from Rob Morris, trying to stick his nose on the outside line there on the exit. Fast lap of the race, and that's not the fast lap of the race, but it's a personal best again from Oscar Mangan. Tom Ingram half a second off the pace, so Mangan starting to open out the gap even more out front right now, and he's continued his run of perfect form in race number 1. We stick now with Rob Moore, who's having to think about having a move on Aaron Carey up the inside of the final corner. He's going to be able to get it done up the inside. Not much that Aaron Carey can do about that one. Slickly done and perfectly done from Rob Moore.
Yeah, that's one of the most common places we see overtakes around this Oulton Park circuit, down into that final corner, and that all seems quite simple. Back close together as well is this pack, 4, 5, 6. Also, would just like to say a shout out to our sponsor for this series, Porsche Centre Dublin. Thanks a lot for them to sponsoring this series throughout and for making this championship possible. Ingram has dropped down to 3rd position, but he's back up into 2nd position now, and McMahon seemed to let that go very easily. They weren't particularly close before, and now he's flashing the lights. I wonder if they come together somehow.
Together? Yeah.
But like I said, they were about a second apart, so I'd be surprised. Oh, they have come together.
They did. Yeah.
All dear.
Oh, Brian, that was very close, but at least he, sportsman-like, he moved over to let Ingram back through. Flashed the lights was an apology, so obviously he did not mean to go for that move, but that was edge of the seat moment. That could have been race ending for both of them right there. So they were lucky to get away with that one. But now that puts Mangan nearly 9 seconds clear. 7 seconds out in front, and continuing to lap easily now. So they lost 3 seconds to him that time. Yeah, McManus was so lucky. Ingram, I think, would have seen his life flash before his eyes with that car coming straight across his nose in the chicane. But McGovern and Kelly and Campfield still nose to tail here. Kelly managed to get past Campfield earlier on, and now Jordan right on the tail of McGovern here in this race number 1. Now heading down the hill for the first time, or this is the 8th time, excuse me. And then the first hairpin, see if Jordan can get past. McGovern has been holding on to this 4th place very well so far. And now possibly an opportunity for Kelly into the hairpin here. He's very close to the bumper of McGovern. Is he going to have a think about it here? It's a good place to make a move, but McGovern covers the inside nicely. Now, does he try and go on the outside? But he leaves the door open just a small bit for Campfield. He's got to be careful as they come through now. We're right on board with Adrian Campfield into the 2nd chicane. Kelly is looking, he's clearly quicker, but he cannot find a way past Harry McGovern at this point. This is the battle for 4th place on the road. Now here we go. Let's see if Kelly's going to be able to get it done this time. Down towards the 2nd, 3rd chicane. No, not quite. Very tricky to overtake here. McGovern goes a touch wide on the entry there, but again, he's just parking the bus on the apex, and there's nothing that these guys can do about it.
Yeah, once you kind of know where the other driver is past where they're going to try to go for a move, you pretty much got everything covered off, and that's what McGovern is doing at the moment. I think there's final corners for one opportunity that Kelly has got. I think that's going to be his best opportunity, as running wide now as McGovern. Kelly's got his car on the inside, and that should be a game, set and match surely, as he squeezes him slightly to the inside. There's so nearly contact, there must have been contact between the two of them. Drives it in deep, does McGovern, but Kelly has the better line, and Kelly finally does get ahead. So it was the final corner, although Must be said, it was the mistake at the penultimate corner, which proved to be the turning point. Campfield now is trying to get past, but it's tricky to overtake kind of beyond this part of the circuit. You almost have to wait until the right-hander, the bank's right-hander, in order to go for a move, because it's just so narrow and low grip down this gradient. You can already see how Kelly's opened up a small gap, and now that Kelly's got past, Campfield will be hoping to follow suit. Looks to the inside, he'll have the outside for the next corner, but it's not enough to overtake.
No, so now you can see already Kelly's already built a gap, so he's clearly got the pace, but he's not able to get past. Campfield needs to get past now, but McGovern's defending really well, defending hard. It's good racing between the two. You see how much he put the squeeze on Jordan Kelly heading towards the last corner. But can Campfield find his way through? So close to his bumper right there. You can clearly see he's trying his best to get past. McGovern is just a cork in the bottle really here for Campfield, but he just cannot find a way through at this point. Keep you updated on the reverse grid poll, by the way. It's currently Sergey Graben on the reverse grid poll, with Arturas Kondelis in 19th place at the moment. So they'll be the front row at the moment for that one. And we're heading on to lap 10 of 12 in this heat race number 1 in the Digital-Motorsports Porsche Cayman Cup in association with Porsche Centre Dublin. In the final round, of course, championship decider, we pretty much know that Oscar Mangan is going to win the title after this heat race number 1. But now here comes Campfield. Can he find some space? He's going to have to go to the outside and try the over-under maybe. McGovern, is he going to go deep? No, holds the karting line, but Campfield gets a good exit out of here. And this is proving frustrating for Adrian Campfield, because Jordan Kelly has built the gap already, but McGovern is really trying to defend this top 5 position. Where does Campfield go? Cannot find a way through past Harry McGovern right here, and this is really frustrating him. Down through turn number 1. Has he found space on the outside? Yes, he has, but again, McGovern has the inside, so there's not a whole lot that Campfield can do now. He just needs to try and get alongside on the exit here. McGovern's going to try and defend the inside, but he needs to, ideally Campfield is the outside line here. He tried this earlier and it didn't really work, so he comes to the inside. No way through, but can he maybe dive into the inside of the hairpin? No, McGovern again defends that inside so hard, and Campfield trying the long way around, but again not able to do it. I got to say, McGovern is defending this beautifully so far.
Yeah, it's all very clean so far, isn't it? Maybe it's a little bit firm with his movements across the circuit, as we saw earlier on with him trying to defend against Kelly. But on the most part, he's not moving around in the braking zone. He's not defending fresh air on the most part. And this will be annoying Campfield. At the same time, though, of course, the lower you finish in race 1, the higher you'll start in race 2. So at least the Campfield finishes behind in this race 1. You won't have to pass Kelly in race 2. However, you won't have to pass McGovern in race 2. However, I think he'd like it for purely pride reasons, just to be able to finally get one over his rival. And this time McGovern doesn't make that mistake into the right-hander. We did see him miss the apex a few laps ago. Dowling and Marchenkovic. Marchenkovic's been on a charge after a difficult first lap. Seems to have a clean car, to be fair, does Valentinus. And he's now onto the back of Dowling. Also a nice, there was a nice battle with Malone, McMullen and Montero and Yamantis. However, that has started to spread out a little bit, so I wonder if there was a bit of contact amongst those drivers. Here comes Marchenkovic. Very good running as we move on to lap 11 of the race. Has the inside line for turn 1. Can't make it stick though. Good speed carried by Dowling round the outside. And once again, around this part of the circuit, it's very tricky to overtake.
Yeah, you can pretty much call it a done deal if you're on the inside down at the hairpin here. There's no way you can hang it around the outside there. I haven't seen done that. Campfield again he's going late on the brakes. He's having a go the long way on. McGovern drops it on the hairpin. A rare mistake from Harry McGovern. Drops it on the curb, and Pat Masterson goes through to 6th place. This is a fantastic drive from Pat Masterson at the moment. He's up to 6th place. Driven well so far. McGovern just getting on the curb there, I think, and just dropped it. And Campfield goes through.
Yeah, just seems to lose the rear end at a really low speed as well. Just the rear end over rotating, and McGovern will be furious with that one. Drops to 7th place. Like I said before, he will start a couple of places higher now for race 2. But after working so hard for that top 5, to let go like that will be incredibly frustrating for him. Hederman in 10th place. I think that was Hederman just defending as The race leader is on the last lap, and we could see something that I'm not sure if it has ever been done in Digital Motorsports history: the winning of 5 consecutive, or all 5 100% records in race 1 events. I mean, that is quite exceptional.
I'm pretty sure it hasn't been done, unless somebody can correct me. I don't think Heath Dempsey managed it last season or any of his previous seasons, but Oscar Mangan, there's nothing. If he's on pole, there's not a whole lot you can do about it, as the looks of it now. So Mangan has led every single lap of this race and is heading towards his 5th race 1 victory in a row. He's won every single one this season. And it's been an absolute stellar display. Race 2's only came good for him last week in Snetterton when he got the reverse grid win after the whole debacle with the fuel, just beating Lewis Ward to the win on the last lap when they came in for fuel. A couple of drivers just nursing it to the end, but no such issues today by the looks of it. And then Mangan coming up to the last couple of corners now. Tom Ingram on for 2nd place, by the way. He's on for his best result at the moment, so we'll see if he can improve on that, maybe potentially in the 2nd race to come. He'll be starting, of course, next to Mangan at the back ahead of him. So Mangan through the last corner, 100% record in Heat Race 1. It's been perfect so far. Oscar Mangan crosses the line and wins Heat Race 1 here in Oulton Park, and his perfect record is complete. Tom Ingram is going to get his best result. 2nd place for Tom Ingram, just beats Brian McManus to 3rd place. Jordan Kelly is going to, I think, win in that battle against himself and Canfield after all that. So Jordan Kelly, that's a fantastic result for Jordan as well, for 4th place. He started 11th on the grid. He comes across for 4th place. Adrian Canfield, after his lap 1 mistake, is going to cross the line in 5th place. And the man who's going to be exceptionally happy with his result, Pat Masterson, crosses the line for 6th place. Harry McGovern, he fought so hard, but it's going to be 7th place for him. Then Valentinas Marchenkovic, Adam Dowling, and coming to the line really close between these guys. But Ronan Herderman is just going to hold off Rob Moore for 10th place. Top 10 finish for Ronan. And then Rob Moore, Ian Malone, Arias Yamantis, Johnny McMullen, Jean Montero, Paulo Breme, Aaron Carey, Arturas Candaz. And the front row for the reverse grid race is Andrew Watson and Sergey Graben. So I wouldn't put it past Andrew Watson to potentially grab the reverse grid win here, because he's done it before in Brands Hatch, Sam.
Graben's fast as well, as we've seen so far this season, but you're absolutely right. Watson, who qualified up in P6 as well in race 1, certainly going for your favourite. Kundalisle starting in 3rd place. He could be a danger qualified in 12th. So it could be a couple of real favourites for that one. Will be tricky for Mangan to win that race too, but I think he'll be absolutely delighted that he's won that race. And we already knew they had the championship in the bag, but to get 5 consecutive race 1 victories, which is the race where it's most down to driver skill, isn't it? It's most down to your pace, and for him to dominate every single one of them is quite an achievement, so you should be very pleased.
Yeah, so we're just waiting for the session to tick to an end. About 20 seconds before we go to that. Of course, the next session is a quick 3-minute cool down / warm up session, and then the reverse grid with the top 20 inverted. So not a full grid reverse, just the top 20. And here is your official results from Heat Race 1. Oscar Mangan, 100% record in the Heat Race number 1s. He takes another win. Tom Ingram gets his best result in his first podium in 2nd place. Brian McManus finishes 3rd, exactly where he started. Jordan Kelly from 11th on the grid comes to 4th. Adrian Canfield started 2nd, finishes 5th. Pat Masterson, great drive from Pat there into 6th. Harry McGovern tried his best to hold Jordan Kelly, Adrian Canfield behind him, but it ended up in a quick spin and he ended up in 7th. Valentinas Marchenkovic in 8th. Adam Dowling 9th, and Ronan Herderman in 10th place. Then Rob Moore, Ian Malone, Arias Yamantis, Johnny McMullen, Jean Montero, Paulo Breme, Aaron Carey, and then the top 3 in the reverse grid would be Arturas Candaz, Andrew Watson, and Sergey Graben. Then Tony Stack, Peter McCann, Diarmuid Toomey, Dave Collier, Mark Birney, Willie Pigeon, then a couple of DNFs here: Rory O'Shea, Lee Matkins, Dave Maguire, Michael McCarthy, Lewis Ward. Plenty of drivers involved in a lap 1 instance with the coal tyres and the new centre of gravity on the Porsche Cayman GT4. But yeah, I think we wanted to know, particularly a 12-lap race, very large gaps between the field. The last car across the line was Peter McCann, 2 minutes 44 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, that is absolutely vast. It must have been an issue for McCann actually, because the lap is only 2 minutes long, isn't it? So for him to be 2 minutes 44, that must have been a very tedious lap for him. I can only imagine the sense of gravity is back in Belgium or something. That is what the drivers seemingly were experiencing out there. Was absolutely massive trouble on that lap one. Of course, if we have one of the front runners spin, that could cause absolute mayhem. I doubt it'll be as bad as we saw in race one, this race two start. But yeah, like I said, if someone drops it at turn one, then that could be a lot of consequences further down. It'll be interesting to see. Actually, hopefully we get Mangan have a clear lap one, because we saw at Brands Hatch and we saw at was it? Yeah, Brands Hatch, I believe it was, and Donington in particular, where he got caught up in race one. I think it'll be really close whether or not he'll be able to catch the front runners if he gets a clean lap one. I think he might have it, but they're almost on a perfect course to meet. Maybe on the final lap is Mangan, if he doesn't get involved in an incident.
Yeah, and of course, the lap one for Oscar in Snetterton wasn't the cleanest either. He was still caught up in an incident, but he wasn't facing the wrong direction, which was the crucial thing. And he managed to climb his way up to the win, of course, on the final lap, just pipping Lewis Ward for that one. But yeah, we'll see in due course with the final race of the season, believe it or not, here in the Digital-Motorsports Porsche Cayman Cup. We're going to see who's going to get the final honours. We know that Oscar Mangan is the champion in this championship, so of course there was never any doubt in our minds that was going to be the case. But we'll see who's going to come out on top in the Pro-Am class. But here is the grid for the final race of the season. Sergey Grabin on pole position next to Andrew Watson, Arturas Candelas and Aaron Kerry. Then Paulo Breme and Jan Montero on the third row of the grid. Fourth row made up of Johnny McMullen and Arias Humantis. And then behind them is Ian Malone, Rob Moore. Then Roland Herdeman, Adam Dowling, two VRA racing cars sharing the row on the grid. Then Valentinas Marchenkovic, Harry McGovern, and Pat Masterson. Then Adrian Camfield, Jordan Kelly, Brian McManus, and then the guys to watch, Tom Ingram and Oscar Mangan from 19th to 20th on the grid. Then just behind will be Tony Stack, Peter McCann, Diarmuid Toomey, and Dave Collier in 24th. And then further down, Tony will have Diarmuid Toomey, Mark Burney, Rory O'Shea, and all those guys. But here we go for the final race of the season here in Digital Motorsports, and away we go. Good start Grabin, good start Watson, good start Candelas as they head towards turn number one. Candelas with a great getaway actually, and a bad one for Aaron Kerry. And up through turn number one, Watson going up the inside, but he can't quite get alongside, and they go through turn one cleanly. There's a car off in the back. Oh, a big one, massive. Marchenkovic is rolling as they come through. Is that Jordan Kelly who got involved as well? And that's Jan Montero and a couple of others. Oh, there's even more carnage as they come through. Mangan is involved. Mangan is involved. I just saw his car spinning around there. Oscar Mangan has had a disastrous first corner again. And again, there's even more carnage. Peter McCann is around as they come through here. Adam Dowling and Rob Moore together. So there was, oh, and even more. That's Aaron Kerry spinning. And they have to take avoiding action. So they didn't learn their lesson from the previous races. And it's gone terribly wrong. And Aaron Kerry don't rejoin in front of them. And Tony Stack is going to collect Tom Ingram as they come through the hairpin. This has been a terrible, terrible first lap. Extremely messy. And multiple cars involved now. And Tom Ingram and Oscar Mangan both taken out in this race number one. What a shame. But I'll tell you, Brian McManus up to 7th.
Maguire up 20 places to 9th. Incredible. And McManus, like you say, up 11. Camfield was involved in one of them as well, so that's ruled him out. Mangan's still in 14th. I mean, he's still getting 6 places despite being involved in something. I think he was spun round like you were commenting on before, just coming out of turn 1, and that almost meant that he missed the carnage for the next few corners. Actually has a decently clean car. You can see a few scrapes, but I doubt that'll be affecting his speed too much. So still possible for Mangan as he sticks on down the inside of Collier. Quite aggressive that move. McManus already getting past ahead of him. So Watson is the leader. Kundal is in second place. So those guys got through cleanly. Graben from pole didn't get through cleanly, but two of the top three were okay seemingly. So they're now the guys to beat, I imagine. It's just a case of whether or not McManus and Mangan can catch up to those top two.
Yeah, so Watson is clear out front. Arturas Candelas in second place, racing on hand controls. May I remind you, ladies and gentlemen, of course, he is has not got the use of his legs, so it's fantastic to see the inclusivity here. But he's chasing after Andrew Watson here for the lead. Ian Malone is in third place. Then Adam Dowling in fourth. Rob Moore, McManus, and Kelly and Hederman. So McManus, Kelly, and Hederman are all part of VRA Racing. So they'll be working together to climb up through the field here. But Adam Dowling under pressure from Rob Moore, and Rob Moore was quick in Heat Race 1. He was looking racy. But Adam Dowling now chasing after Ian Malone is in third place here. So this is for the podium spots. Mangan into 13th. And yeah, as you mentioned, Graben down to 21st. Didn't quite see what happened to Sergey, but obviously either involved in his own little incident up front, possibly maybe got a tag from Watson we didn't quite see. But yeah, shame for Sergey dropping from pole all the way down to 20th place, where he finished in race number 1. And yeah, the drivers, I'm sure, there are plenty of discussions afterwards about the car afterwards, I would imagine. But Mangan makes a move on Mark Byrne. You can just see them going up the hill. He just gone up the inside there into 12th place. So Mangan trying to get back through. Rory O'Shea into 15th. But I really feel for Tom Ingram. He was just completely innocent. And Tony Stack was completely out of control and just got tagged coming through the hairpin. And Tom had an amazing, he was from 19th up to 5th in a couple of corners. But really unfortunate for Tom, and especially we'll feel for him now.
Yeah, maybe he would have been able to fight Watson for this race win. Like, there certainly would have been in with a shout of another podium. At least he did get that podium under his belt in race 1, but as you say, he was unlucky. It should be added as well. Many other drivers, I'm sure, were unlucky as well. But yeah, the car's going to be really tricky to drive on this opening lap of the race, and a couple of weird crashes as well. So I can imagine what's going to be in the first hot fix for iRacing in this season 3. Dowling catching up to Malone. Malone had an incredible race 1, by the way. Was up more places than anyone else. I think up 18 places in race 1, which was a record, and he's already up 6 places as well in this race 2. So I'm not sure if he actually did qualify or not, but he certainly escalated a lot so far, and he might be a little bit out of position. However, at the moment, looking more out of position is Rob Moore, because Graham McManus is all over the back end. McManus doesn't quite nail that chicane. Wing mirror as well, flying off. I believe that was Malone. I think the wing mirror was flying off, which knows that you've absolutely hit the apex on that chicane, just scraping it along the tyre barrier. And also catching up to these guys is Kelly, Jordan Kelly, who we knew or we saw was very quick as well in race 1. I imagine he'll be onto these guys within a couple of laps. As here comes Moore. This should be all right for him against Dowling. Dowling keeps it round the outside there. He wants to hold on to this position. Just shoves him out ever so slightly. Escorts him out to the outside of the circuit. And it seems like Moore has this one covered.
Yeah, should have the inside line for the next corner, and trying to keep Adam Dowling, gives him a squeeze to the outside, and Rob Moore goes through. Brian McManus, fastest lap of the race that time, but he's catching this train as they come across the line. Oscar Mangan back up to 10th place now. He's back in the top 10 after recovering from his lap 1 spin. There is McManus. He's got a golden opportunity now to chase for a podium again, and Andrew Watson out in the lead. He's looking for his second reverse grid win today. And I think that would actually end the streak of different winners, because Oscar Mangan, I don't think, won a race 2 up until last week. So Watson trying to go for it, the first double winner of a race 2. But Kundelis trying to put a stop to that. I'm not sure he's quite keeping up with Watson at this stage. Ian Malone, of course, we're looking at the battle for third at the moment. And oh, that's a car on the wall. Mark Byrne in the wall in the hairpin. Shame for Mark, who's running really well, but the back is missing off the car. He's going to rejoin just behind Sergey right there. And unfortunately, he's got the back missing off the car. He's going to have to come back into the pit lane and get that repaired. Let's see if we can see what happened here.
Yeah, I saw him initially go up a place and then seemingly go down a place very quickly after. and that was why he just drove it in too deep, got onto the grass, and that is such I mean, I'm half surprised they can still do real life motorsports around that corner, because that is so little runoff area. And then you got the wall. You must have some pretty big incidents at that corner. We certainly see in sim racing, and hard into the wall, losing some body work. Malone's being caught then by Moore. To be fair, this is kind of the same as what we saw before, isn't it? I don't think there's... Well, actually, I think Moore maybe got past Dowling, but and seemingly has the pace advantage as well on Malone, who's punching well above his weight at the moment, up in third position. Of course, is an amateur driver, no pro drivers in the podium places at the moment. It's going to be a move from Moore. This would be very brave from him, and to be fair to Malone, left plenty of space there and then got a good exit. That's exactly how you deal with a kind of a half move just like that. Also, Dowling and McManus, you'd expect those guys, as VRA teammates, to go swap positions. At the moment, they're not, but certainly McManus looks a lot faster.
I think they've just swapped it right there. Dowling backed off into the hairpin and McManus is through. So Dowling team orders coming into effect right there. McManus was setting fast lap of the race, just taken by a couple of hundreds by Oscar Mangan on that lap. McManus now needs to try and follow Rob Moore through. Rob Moore trying to go for his first podium as well, as is Ian Malone. So McManus trying to go for a double podium in this week's race. Arturus Kundell is a bit ways further up the road. He's lost touch with Andrew Watson on this 20-lap feature race. And we'll see if these guys can get through. But Rob Moore trying. This is a carbon copy of what we saw with Harry McGovern and Jordan Kelly and Adrian Campfield last time. Malone defending nicely so far, but McManus straight up to the back of Rob Moore now. Dowling dropping off the back of them. Jordan Kelly actually not far off the back of them there. Dave Maguire, of course, up nearly 20 spots from where he started. So he's doing amazing. And further back then you get Ronan Hederman and Oscar Mangan. Now Rob Moore, has he found the inside line this time? He's going to outbrake Malone into the last corner. I should be able to get through right there, and he does. But Malone with the cut back line, not quite able to get alongside. He's going to try and get back past her. McManus needs to find a way through now, because Malone will check, Moore will check out. McManus has the inside line for turn one, late on the brakes and straight up the inside. Malone leaves plenty of room there. He knows he's not able to keep the pace with these guys, but now the battle is on between Moore and McManus.
Yeah, this will be a tight one. Certainly McManus has the pace advantage. We're not quite familiar with how quick Moore is, as we've got the 27 car Bernie off the circuit having another spin. Is already a lap down as he just rejoins to the track in the background. McManus, like I said, yeah, definitely going to be faster, but as we saw in race one, it's not easy to overtake around this second, and he found it particularly difficult, did McManus, being stuck behind a couple of drivers for a large portion of the race. And if he can get past straight away McManus, he's got a chance of catching up to Kundelis as well. I think Watson's just too quick today. Watson absolutely flying along at the moment. But a second place is still possible for McManus. He looks to the outside, no way through on the inside of Moore into the chicane, just very much shielding that position. Cal can get a good drive here. He tries to go for the surprise attack, and again his rival does leave in space. They're very slow. That's the car even slower. McMullen just slowing right down on the circuit there. Still got part of his car alongside us, McManus, but now as they swift to the left, it does just fall behind. Moore again running it in deep though. McManus will have a great opportunity into the final corner.
This is a great fight between McManus. More real fair racing so far. Moore again defends the inside, and now with the cut back line, McManus going to be able to make it work this time into turn one. We look back, look how close McManus is to the back. He's going to have to go to the outside because Moore sternly defends the inside line into turn one. Dowling's made the move on Moore in the background, so now can McManus sweep around the outside? He's going to have a think about it, but Moore parks the car on the apex. Beautiful defense so far. McManus getting frustrated now behind because Moore again defends the inside down the hill, and they leave space for each other right now. But this is allowing Jordan Kelly to get in on the fun. He's caught the battle in the background. You can just see him on the back of Ian Malone now. McManus to the inside for this next corner. He's going to have to do something brave here up the inside. Can Moore stick it around the outside? He's going to have a go. I don't think he's going to quite be able to hang on. And McManus finally gets through past Rob Moore with a fantastic fight. But I'm not too sure. McManus needs to break away quickly now because Moore will have another go. And Jordan Kelly gets past Ian Malone in the background for 6th place. But a great fight between those guys, really fair.
6 seconds to catch now for McManus to get to Kundelis. Of got quite a few laps to go as well. 13 laps to go after this one, so he's got half a second a lap pretty much to catch up. He's certainly got that potential, does McManus, but he can't afford any big mistakes. Now we've got a bit of a queue forming up behind, haven't we? And this is, by the way, the closest battles out on circuit. Maybe a couple of decently close ones further back, but certainly the best one to watch with 5 or 6 drivers all within a second of one another. And Stallion actually trying to come back against Moore, which is an odd one. Moore easily overtook Dowling earlier on, seems to have a big advantage. And fair thing now, he seems to be falling back again. Kelly as well caught these guys by 1 second on the last lap, and also Moore is looking very beatable right now. He's already been overtaken by one car. Now a couple of teammates are going to seemingly get past him as well.
Yeah, just to keep updated, Watson is lapping at almost a second faster than Cundless each lap. So Watson is looking comfortable. There he is. He's had a pretty easy run of it so far, as Andrew Watson. He just needs to keep away from mistakes. Of course, he is a World Endurance Championship driver for the Aston Martin factory team. He's a junior driver for those guys, so he's experienced in GT cars. And it's great to have him with us. Of course, he's from Northern Ireland. And out here racing with us in Digital-Motorsports. Of course, there was a big event last night, which he also raced in the Mark II Escort Challenge, which was extremely popular. We had Andrew competing in that, and a couple of other guys as well. But a quick change to GT cars is a big one. But these 5.2 seconds ahead of Arturas Cundless, who is running extremely well in second. We can't take anything away from him. He is running really, really well in second place at the moment. He's 5.3 ahead of Brian McManus, who's now going to try and close the gap down to him. With there's a long way to go in this race. There's 12 laps to go when we come across the line, but he got the queue now. McManus, Moore, Dowling, Kelly, and again you can kind of see, I think Dave Maguire's got past Ian Malone, and guess who's on the back of that train now? Oscar Mangill.
This is fun for him. He's going to get past Malone straight away. Likes that move actually into the, and I don't think he's the only driver who has seen actually overtake at that corner all day long. I mean, I was doing some AI racing yesterday. I imagine this is a bit like what Mangan is racing against, because I have to put it on about 8% skill level in order to overtake anyone. Mangan is much superior to myself, but he will be just looking at these guys and knowing that he can pick one off after the other. Could still be a podium. It is annoying though, isn't it, that you wonder what Mangan could have done if it weren't for that that spin right at the start of the race. Maybe he would have been able to catch up to Watson. Would have been tough because Watson's flying along. I think we would have had a very similar race to Senston, which was absolutely exhilarating. Instead, Mangan's just trying to recover what he can.
Yeah, and of course Watson, remember, he sort of fell off the pace towards the end of the race in Brands Hatch, and it was about a half a car length separating himself and Adrian Camfield across the line. So Watson just about held on for it, but Mangan now chasing after Dave Maguire. McManus, by the way, was 1.1 seconds quicker than Cundless in second place. McManus is well on track to catch up to Arturas, but Mangan now trying to get past Dave Maguire, who is our biggest mover in this race. Dave Maguire is having a hell of a race at the moment, but Mangan, I think, is just going to make quick work of him here on the inside line. Little squeeze from Maguire there's to come down, and Mangan not quite able to get through. A little bit of smoke up ahead. I think the guys got through there cleanly. I don't see anybody facing the wrong way anyway. So Mangan trying to recover, and Maguire actually just understeers straight off the road, and Mangan says, thank you very much, I'll have 7th place. Now we'll see. Clear road in front of him. Can he catch the battle for 4th place?
Well, this will be pretty much a clean lap, I think, for him, because just as he caught up to Maguire, he seems to go off the circuit. So this will be quite an interesting lap time for him. He was in the 42s earlier on, actually, was Mangan. It's fast lap, which is the fast lap overall as well, 42.9. So I imagine this will be a low 43 for him this time around. Interesting to see Maguire's right rear tyre there, pretty much just stopping as he went through that final corner, completely off the ground. Seemingly just shows kind of the elevation change. Of course, it is a fixed setup in this series as well. And so anything to do with kind of the springs and such will be locked for these drivers, and they won't be able to necessarily adjust it for each individual round. So it's something that you have to drive around, but at the same time it's a fantastic element of the series, because you know that there's no setup advantage. You know that you're driving the exact same car as everyone else.
Oh.
Campfield, after having a miserable race so far, a miserable day on the most part, it must be said, he's trying to get past McCann, swooping round the outside and has a much better exit. Next up for him is, apology, that was going past, no, what's that? Sorry, that's behind McCann. So McCann's just done that to Campfield, apologies, which is strange to see Campfield lose out in a battle, and now he's onto the back of Montero.
João Montero now, so McCann up the inside. Now go on, Peter, see if he can get it done up the inside, and he does. So João Montero from Portugal moves out of the way, and Campfield now going to try and outbreak him round the outside. And Rob Moore, oh, what a shame for Rob Moore, running so well, drops it in the second sector, and that is such a hard one to take for Rob Moore. He's running so well.
That's a strange corner as well to drop it, isn't it? I don't think he tipped the wheel onto the grass. But yeah, spinning round, and that is more down to 12th position outside the top 10, behind the likes of Yamantis as well, Headerman, who are very quick. Giles O'Shea as well has put in some good laps, so it's going to be tricky for Moore to get a lot higher than this. But still will be decent points for the pro driver. So Headerman actually and Yamantis, as I was saying, they're both quick, but Yamantis is quicker. Mid 45 on that last lap for Yamantis. He was about 0.8 of a second faster than Rowan Headerman, and I reckon he'll be passed pretty soon, although 3 seconds at the moment separates the two of them. I'll take a couple of laps for that to drop down. McCarthy coming into the pits, which is a strange one. Michael McCarthy, by the way, the 8th Michael McCarthy on Iris, seems to be a very common name, and he's dropped outside the top 20 all of a sudden, so he must have just picked up some damage.
Yep, so just an interesting thing to look at. McManus is again chipping away at the gap to Condelis, and he's actually the fastest out of the top 6. He's even faster than Mangan at the moment. Now, I'm not sure Mangan has set a representative lap time in a while, but McManus lapping quicker. He's lapping quicker than the leader. He's lapping quicker than Condelis. He's brought the gap down to 2.2 seconds. So it's been really quickly going away from Condelis, and be interested to see if Condelis can even hold on for that podium. But McManus trying to go for second place now, and he's flying up to Arturas Condelis. We'll have a look at the lap times. Jordan Kelly up to 4th place. So Dowling, I think, is just going to not fight with his teammate there, and nicely goes through. But look at that. Look who's that in the background. It's Oscar Mangan.
He's always lurking, isn't he? He's really annoying for the other drivers. And maybe them seeing Mangan in their wing mirrors perhaps gave Kelly the hurry up to get past Dowling. They felt as though they had to make that change straight away for the benefit of the team. With the pace that McManus is currently lapping at, actually, he's not going to be a whole lot off Watson by the end of the race. He's currently about 9 seconds behind, as Breme has actually just had an issue. I think I think Breme's off the circuit at the moment. But yeah, McManus will probably get within about 3 or 4 seconds of Watson by the end of the race. So Watson can't afford to have an off track or anything. Otherwise, that could just put his race win in a bit of jeopardy out there. Getting back onto circuit. No, he hasn't got back on the circuit, Breme. He's back in 17th place, and now McCann's off the circuit. It just says McCann passes Breme. He's off the circuit as well, so very delayed synchronized spinning there.
Yeah, Tony Stack goes past McCann. Of course, Tony Stack was involved in that lap incident, flying into the hairpin after this one at the end of the straight, where poor old Tom Ingram was taken out as well. And they continue on, but Peter McCann not having the best of days. Once again, he's down to 20th place now, and Campfield in 15th, of course. And we're on lap 12 of 20. Andrew Watson leads from Arturas Condelis and Brian McManus, Jordan Kelly, Adam Dowling. Oscar Mangan is just behind Adam Dowling. I don't think Adam Dowling is going to be in 5th for very long, because here comes Oscar Mangan up the inside. Can he get us something? Dowling likes to hang around the outside, but again, leaves the door open. Oscar Mangan back into the top 5.
That was remarkably quick, wasn't it? One moment Dowling couldn't see him, and the next moment he's straight past. Dowling seems to have an upturn of pace, didn't he, when McManus got past another driver earlier on. Seems to be getting a bit faster, and now back into the 46s is Dowling. Next up for Mangan is Kelly, and that should pretty much be it, shouldn't it? I doubt he's going to get any higher than Kelly.
But yeah, you can just see McManus and Condellis up the road. So I wonder, it mightn't be totally out of the question that he catches up to Condellis maybe, and then Jordan Kelly is of course catching up to that. So there could be a battle for maybe potentially third place if Condellis drops away between Kelly and Mangan for that one. But there is Arturas Condellis. He's held on to second for a while now, and McManus is there in the background, 1.2 off the back of him. So there's going to be 7 laps to go across the line. And we'll see if McManus, how quickly can he get past Condellis, who's been lapping consistently for the past couple of laps. Oscar Mangan is 8 seconds behind this battle right now. And he's about a second and a bit off the back of Jordan Kelly. Jordan Kelly is 6.2 off the back of Arturas Condellis. So they've got a decent buffer with 7 laps to go across the line. And you can just see the sight of Andrew Watson disappearing through the last corner right there. He's got a gap of 8.7 seconds right now. We'll have to keep an eye on the old the gaps as they come across the line. And we'll see what the lap time, 143.91, and then coming across the line of 44.5 and versus a 44.4 for McManus. So not a bad time from Condellis that time, I must say. But Oscar Mangan, the quickest out of them, 143.955. This is not the ultimate pace. These guys are in the 42s in qualifying, so they're not lapping anywhere near the pace. But still, Mangan trying to get into that top 4.
Just trying to call Brands Hatch. I think Condellis was in a similar situation to this. I think I remember him lifting off to let some other drivers pass. I'm not 100% sure if that was...
Oh, that was Umantis, sorry.
Was it Umantis? Yeah. Okay. But maybe Condellis will do the same type of thing. Want the amateur class points if he can possibly snatch them. And he doesn't have a chance of keeping behind McManus to the end of the race. Of course, on these 4 fake as well. So it's O'Shea, Hedeman, Moore. Umantis, I think, made a mistake a few laps ago because he was right onto the back of Hedeman already. I think, about 8 laps ago, and then seemingly dropped away back into 12th place, but has caught back up now. Last lap was the fastest out of these drivers. Well, O'Shea actually pulling away from these drivers slightly. So Moore and Umantis have to get past straight away. Umantis missing his rear wing as well. I don't think that will benefit him down the straights, even though it's all off the circuit as well, just ahead. So O'Shea was pulling away, but that is a big mistake. He was fortunate to miss the tyre wheel as well. Did well to still make the corner rather than picking up a slowdown. And these 4 are even closer together as McManus has got past Condellis, and that looks very simple.
Yeah, I think Condellis moved over on the straight right there. He moved over to let McManus through. I think possibly a mistake there. 44.8, not the same pace as Andrew Watson. So there's 6 laps to go. Andrew Watson is at the moment about 10 seconds ahead of Brian McManus at the moment. So Watson should be comfortable. He needs to just not make any mistakes, and they'll be on for... It's quite unbelievable to say this. We haven't had the same winner in race 2 every single week, but Watson on course to do that, which will be quite something. I think he's even more than 10 seconds clear. I think he could be closer to about 15, 16 at this rate. So Watson is really comfortable. He just needs to not put it in the wall, not make any mistakes, and he should be okay. McManus now into second. This is probably one of the best drives from McManus we've had all season. Arturas Condellis in 3rd place. And how far is Jordan Kelly off the well? We'll have to ignore that for a while. 6 seconds off the back of these guys because... Oh, Mangan! Mangan's been a huge error. He's hit the wall. Oh, and it collects Adam Dowling. He tried too hard. Just nipped the inside wall. And that's a rare error from Oscar Mangan. Puts it in the tyre wall. Let's have a look at that one again. That just seems so strange from the championship leader.
That tyre wall looks to say he's been bullied for his whole life, and finally stamping back because that was a mega punch back against Mangan. He simply clipped the tyres and got sent off. So, yeah, that's a strange mistake for Mangan, but it was a very small. And once again, those tyre battles, which one of the biggest challenges of this Oulton Park circuit, really biting for one of the first times today, it must be said. Hederman and Umantis, it looks like Umantis is finally going to be able to get past Hedeman. Mangan drops down to 8th position, so it's not too bad for him. And surprisingly, doesn't have a whole lot of damage, even though initially, on my end at least, it showed him as losing a wheel, but that very quickly reattached itself. Yamanta still can't get past Hedeman, he still can't get in the top 10.
Yeah, so Mangan very, very lucky to get away with that one without any terminal damage. But that, of course, puts Dave Maguire into 6th place, Ian Malone in 7th, Adam Dowling, and now we'll just wait and see if Jordan Kelly can maybe catch Arturas Kundalis. But there's a big gap, about 6.2. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a tough ask to catch up. But we go back to Adam Dowling, who's trying to fight with Dave. Actually, Dave Maguire has just passed Adam Dowling. Of course, Dowling carrying damage from that contact with Mangan. And Dave Maguire, how many positions is he up now, Sam?
24.
Unbelievable. Look at that. 24 places game for Dave Maguire. On for a top 5 finish. He'll be over the moon with that if he can hold on to it. Brian McManus up 16 places as well. So there's plenty of drivers with big moves, but Dave Maguire with 24 is the man who is going to try and hold the record. Of course, Andrew Watson did something similar in Brands Hatch, remember. He climbed almost 27 places.
Oh, I think it was 31. If I
31, yeah, it was.
Yeah, but that was a bigger grid, it must be said. So the fact that that Maguire has gone up 24 out of 31 drivers, one of which didn't even, 3 of which I don't think took the start. So he really put 28. So to gain 24 places is very mad. From all of that. So in terms of percentage of the field, I think that must be a record for him. So congrats.
Yeah, so Watson is currently lapping quicker than McManus, so I think McManus has kind of resigned himself to the fact he's going to finish second.
Oh, into the pits is Dowling, too much damage.
Dowling in, yeah, that'll be back for damage, of course, so that'll put Mangan back up into 6th place, so Mangan kind of getting away with murder there into 6th place. It doesn't look like to be carrying any major damage, which surprises me, because that was a massive crash into the barrier. I think he was lucky to get away with without losing the wheel. And continues to lap, still in 6th place. He's had a spin on lap 1. He's had a massive off into the barrier, still in 6th place somehow. But a ways off the back of Dave Maguire, about 9 and a bit seconds, possibly even more back to him. Dave Maguire in 5th, Jordan Kelly on for 4th place, and Kundelis on for 3rd as well. So Kundelis is actually on course to win the Pro-Am class at the moment. As the championship as well. He's going to beat Sergio Graven. He's in a battle with him. So Ian Malone looking to gain good places as well. We now look at Ronan Hederman, who's under pressure from Rob Moore, who had a little bit of an off earlier on, but Hederman trying to hold on for 9th as they come through the chicane that has proved problems for Mangan. Hederman trying to get a second top 10 finish today. Finished 10th in race 1 and hold on for 9th in race 2, but we've got 3 laps though. It's 3 laps to go. It is Watson from McManus, from Kundelis, and they come up the hill for the 3rd to last time. And McManus starting to kind of back off on the pace, I think, because Watson is incredibly consistent out front.
Yeah, there's no point in him.
No.
And that's a spin for Moore. Once again, and he'll drop behind Collier as well. They might be able to come back at Collier with the 3 laps we've got remaining. And once again, it's losing the rear end, isn't it? And we saw that down this right-hander earlier on in race 1. As McManus is being caught massively. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he's being caught massively by Kundelis. Why is he going so slow? 45.45 on that last lap. And fuel, maybe? Is he struggling on fuel?
I wonder, has that come back to bite him, or is the pace just running out? And Kundelis has kind of opened it up a little bit here, because he's trying to go back and take 2nd place back off McManus again. So that was a slow lap for McManus that time. They're nearly 11 seconds off the back of Andrew Watson right now, but the battle for 2nd really isn't over now. Let's see if Kundelis can get back past McManus. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to. But they should be comfortable in their podium slot. Jordan Kelly is in 4th. You can just see him in the back of the shot right there. He's 5.5 seconds off the back of them at the moment. But we're heading on to lap 19 of 20. Andrew Watson is your leader. He's led every single lap so far, getting the start. And getting ahead of Sergey Grabin into turn 2, and he's held on for that so far. But the battle for second is between Brian McManus and Arturas Kundelis as they come across the line. This time they come on to lap number 19 of 20 in this final round of the Porsche Cayman Cup. And again, so a better lap for McManus that time. And Watson had a particularly bad lap that time around. And again, Jordan Kelly taking a second out of Kundelis, but he's just running out of laps now, unfortunately.
Yeah, won't quite catch in time. Kelly is actually possibly the fastest driver out on circuit now at this very late point. Was very quick as well in all the sectors, bar sector 2. It was weird what happened to McManus because I think he was slower for like 4 consecutive sectors, 7 sectors around the circuit. I mean, come on, Iris, get your act together. We don't need 13-second sectors. Anyway, rant's over. But he was slower for pretty much 2/3 of a lap, which was very odd for McManus, seeming like he's faster on the most part. Once again, Kundelis gaining in sector 1, gained 1.5 tenths of a second. Watson really cruising out in the lead, by the way, starting to lap, about a second a lap slower. He's slow in each of the sectors, just making sure he doesn't do a Mangan and clip one of those tyre barriers, because we've seen this GT4 Porsche. It seems to have issues, unfortunately, and hopefully iRacing address that quite soon. Because we've seen some very strange crashes so far, so just trying to avoid any risk of that is Watson. Barely any really close battles, by the way. That's why we're kind of still concentrating on this. It's actually the closest battle out on circuit.
And we begin the final lap in this feature race. Andrew Watson will lead them away onto the final lap in the final round of the Porsche Cayman Cup here at Digital Motorsports, supported by Porsche Centre Dublin. It's been a fantastic championship. So many different winners across each of the races. The only person who's won race ones in a row is, of course, Oscar Mangan. He won every single one of them. But we've had a different feature race winner every week. But Andrew Watson is going to go ahead and break that tradition. He's going to be the first person to win 2 feature races this season. He won in Brands Hatch on his debut, and he's on course take the win here in Oulton Park in the final round. So Watson now just needs to be careful. He's really backed off on the pace. He lost about 1.5 seconds to McManus. That's okay, but now Kundelis, look at this, the battle for second place. Kundelis trying to get past Brian McManus here, and I wonder, is he going to be able to do it? There's not a lot of opportunity, and it can come down to the last corner. The battle for the lead in the TCR Championship last season, of course, came right down to it. Look how late he is on the brakes. Looks on the inside, but that could be it right there. McManus has the gap now, I think, to just hold on. He really had a go there, but he's going to drop too far off the back of him there. But a valiant effort from Arturas Kundelis right there. Remind you, driving on the hand controls, and is on for his first podium in the season. But a man who's been unchallenged out front this race, in the feature race, with all the incidents that happened behind him, he's had none of the sort. He comes towards the final corner, the final round of the Porsche Cayman Cup Digital Motorsports Championship, round the last corner, breaks the streak. He comes through the last corner, and Andrew Watson becomes the first driver to win 2 feature races this season. He wins the final round in Oulton Park with a fabulous drive to the win. And I think we'll have a look in the back. Is McManus going to hold on for second place? Yes, he does. Second place to McManus, and third place. What a brilliant drive from Arturas Kundelis. Finishes third and wins the Pro-Am Championship as well. And we mustn't forget the newly crowned champion in 6th place. The man who's had an absolutely dominant year, coming around the final corner. The brand new champion of the Porsche Cayman Cup is going to be Oscar Mangan. What a fabulous drive, even if he had his issues this race. He comes across line and he is the champion, crowned officially. Ian Malone will finish in 7th place. Then Rory O'Shea. Roland Herdeman gets 2 top 10 finishes, and Arias Imantis rounds it out in 10th place. Great drive from Arias again. Dave Collier, Rob Moore, after all his issues, finishes in 12th. Then Valentinas Marchenkovas, Sergey Grabin from the pole. What could have happened for Sergey in 14th. Adam Dowling dropping all the way to 15th place. Peter McCann, Tony Stack, Diarmuid Toomey, João Monteiro, Michael McCarthy and Paolo Breme are going to be the final class finishers. Unfortunately, DNFs for Campfield and Ingram, and that unfortunately is it for the championship. That's the final race where it's all done and dusted, and it's been a hell of a one. But Andrew Watson breaking the streak in the final race of the championship, and he's the first person, I think that says a lot about the championship, he's the first person to win 2 feature races.
Yeah, even Oscar Mangan didn't do that. He's the only driver to bar Mangan to win multiple races full stop. So congratulations to him. And he only joined halfway through the season. I think he only joined for round 3 of the championship at Brands Hatch. So Watson certainly wants to watch out for next season. And this format, once again, just delivering, doesn't it? The reverse 20, it's a good size, especially when we have 50-odd drivers for the first couple of rounds. It's tricky to get in that top 20, but when you do, it can really yield a lot of rewards. So yeah, congrats to Watson, congrats to our champion Oscar Mangan. It never really looked in doubt.
Well, here's the official feature race result. Andrew Watson wins his 2nd feature race of the season. Brian McManus gets 2nd place. Great result for Brian. Arturas Kundelis on the podium in 3rd place, wins the Pro-Am class. Jordan Kelly in 4th. David Maguire, what a drive, 24 places gained. Oscar Mangan in 6th place. Ian Malone, Rory O'Shea, Ronan Herdeman by a gap of nearly 3-4 tenths of a second between himself and Rory O'Shea across the line. And Arias Imantas in 10th. Then Dave Collier, Rob Moore, Valentinas Marchenkovas, Sergey Grabin, Adam Dowling, Peter McCann, Tony Stack, and Diarmid Toomey. And then we have João Montero, Michael McCarthy, Paolo Breme, and he's the final classified finisher. Adrian Camfield, unfortunately, a DNF. Aaron Kerry, Liam Atkins, Tom Ingram, a lot of guys out on lap number 1. Johnny McMullen, Mark Birney, Harry McGovern, who ran so well in heat race number 1, unfortunately not finishing this race. And a couple of more, Willie Pigeon, Pat Masterson, and Lewis Ward did not start this race today. So it's now we're going to, of course, have a chat with the drivers. And bless my weary soul, Oscar Mangan is actually waiting for us. But we'll first have a chat with our race winner, Andrew Watson, who's waiting in the interview room for us. Andrew, welcome to the commentary box once again. You're the first man to win 2 feature races. It's been a fantastic debut for you in the series.
All right, cool, yeah. First race didn't go to plan. Bit of carnage. So after that, I realized I had a bit of damage. So just went for the reverse grid, and then I got Sergey spun on the first lap, and that sort of gave me the lead. And then about a third of the way through, I realized that I should be fuel saving. So yeah, I started lifting and coasting and saving a bit of fuel. So it was pretty tight, but got to the end. So it's my dad's birthday today, and I know he'll be watching, so big shout out to him.
It seemed to be, of course, there was the update with the GT4 Porsche as well. It seemed to be a lot more carnage than normal on lap 1. Do you think that was partly down to the new handling model?
The pressure started higher actually, but I think the all-round grip has dropped, so it feels like the tire compound's a little bit harder. But yeah, it wasn't easy by any means. Didn't feel 100% confident because I hadn't done any testing on the new model, but yeah, just nice to get the win tonight. So yeah, look forward to the next championship.
Speaking of the next championship, what are your hopes for it? What do you think? What are you hoping to get a drive in?
I'm not sure. I have a couple more sim races coming up, so I think I need to focus on iRacing because these guys like Oscar and Brian and Tom are all really strong. So I think I'm going to have to put a bit more effort in.
And of course, we're thankfully restrictions are getting lifted. So of course, you're involved in the World Endurance Championship, so I'm sure you're itching to get back behind the wheel of a car again.
Yeah, I did a few laps on Monday in Silverstone, which was really nice, and yeah, a little bit different to the simulator, but first World Endurance race is meant to be in Spa in the middle of August behind closed doors, so hopefully that goes ahead. And then we've got Le Mans in September, so that'll be my first Le Mans. So yeah, fingers crossed that it all gets going.
Well, best of luck from all of us here, Andrew. Well done on the win once again, and hopefully we'll see you back in the next championship. Well done.
Thanks.
So Andrew Watson there joining us from in Belfast, and Sam, I think eventually we've managed to get Oscar Mangan, so I think we can finally have an interview with him.
Absolutely, we have got our champion, Le Champion, Oscar Mangan in the commentary box. Congratulations, Oscar. We can now finally say that you're the champion. I mean, it was pretty much saying that before today anyway, but you must be feeling delighted that you've won this title.
Yeah, cheers. I am happy enough. Good fun. I enjoyed this car most of the time. The last race just finished there. Probably shouldn't have hit that tire barrier, but for the most part, it's been a fun season and it's been pretty clean 99% of the time. So I definitely enjoyed the season.
Absolutely. Let's start on the positives. Race 1 to date. A clean sweep of race 1 victories. I mean, that's something that rarely happens in any championship, let alone this this Digital Motorsports series. It looked all very comfortable once again for you.
Yeah, probably this track wouldn't be my favorite. Definitely enjoyed probably Silverstone a bit more, or Brands, but the new build with this car yesterday made it a bit of a challenge to sort of get used to the different characteristics the car shows now. So probably maybe a bit better than it was before, but still happy enough to get that clean sweep anyway.
Are there going to have to be any kind of big changes to the setups you're running for this car going into kind of future races in this car? Has the build really changed that a lot, or are the old setups still kind of useful?
I think the old setups are a bit too kind of oversteery, a bit too tail hoppy, so I think we have to kind of dial it in a bit more and kind of stop the tires from overheating. The pressures seem to be a lot more sensitive in the
and you certainly found that in race 2 lap 1. Take us through it from your perspective. We didn't quite see how you got involved in something, but we saw you drop down the order a little bit in the first couple of corners.
Yeah, I just was slotted in behind Brian and Adrian, I think, and just coming down into the second corner, I just got a side swipe. I don't even know who hit me. I didn't see anything. I've only got one monitor, so it was sort of like being hit by a train from the side. So I didn't really have an idea what.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty much an unavoidable collision, certainly there. I'm sure you've absolutely enjoyed this season, the G Sport. If we change cars for next season, do you think you'll be back?
Yeah, I think so. Providing it's not some sort of wacky, mad yoke that we're driving, but if it's something, one of the new cars, maybe the new Pro Mazda or the USF, might be good fun to race, something completely different. Anyway, I've sort of had my time now with this car for a few weeks at least.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the championship win, Oscar. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just thanks to Niall and Digital Motorsports all around for organising the whole thing. I know it's a bit of a big job to get this all up and running, and especially they were very busy last night, the Assetto Corsa Rally event. So big props to them and to yourselves for the great production the whole season.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Oscar, and we hope to see you back very soon on the iRacing Esports Network.
Thank you.
So we, of course, finally got a word from our current champion. So Oscar finally joined us, but one man who always likes to join us for an interview is Tom Ingram. We'll have a word with now. Tom, welcome back in once again. The qualifying actually went well for you this week, but race 2 definitely didn't go to plan.
Far from ideal. Qualifying, but like you said, again, I had a nosebleed. I was that far up. I didn't know what to do with myself. It was it's crazy. But yeah, I think it was nice because that little bit of kind of experience of knowing Oulton Park a little bit, that you have to be aggressive on the first lap. You've got to make some gaps, and you've got to make some moves on the first lap, because once you get into the actual race itself, it's so difficult to pass. And even if somebody's massively quicker than you, it's difficult to pass. You can slow it on the apex, get on the power earlier, and you're in a better place. So round Oulton, the first lap's so important.
Yeah, of course, and we had the new GT update as well. The car obviously feeling very, very different. So there was plenty of carnage on lap 1. So what do you think of the major changes that you felt with the car overall compared to the older model that we had earlier?
The only way I can describe it is, imagine your whole road being frozen and it's solid ice. Walking out with wooden blocks that are polished with WD-40 underneath, and try to run as fast as you can. That's effectively what driving the first lap was like. It was difficult, and that's the trouble, is when it's like that, in reality, you could probably feel a little bit more than what's going on because it's the back of the car that moves around. Whereas on this, we can only really, it's guesswork. It's all feel, and we're trying to guess what the car's going to do before it happens. And because none of us have a huge amount of experience with this new update, that's where the carnage came in, and that's why it was so difficult in that first lap with cars all over the place, especially in that second race.
And so just a move to Real World Motorsport now for a second. Of course, we just had the news that BTCC announcing the new layouts for Brands Hatch and all that. So it's looking, of course, promising that we're heading back to Real World Motorsport. So obviously, you must be jumping at the chance to get back behind the wheel of the Corolla again.
Naturally, yeah, of course we are. We're really, really excited because it's a huge year for us. It really, really is a huge year for us. It's it's the year that we're looking to win the championship. So we had a really good off season with loads of development. We had a really, really strong winter test campaign that went fantastically well. Everywhere we were going, we were finding improvements. We went to the media day, we were fastest. So it felt like we had so much momentum on our side to then just kind of go stop, have to wait, 10, 12, 14, 18, 20 weeks, whatever it's going to turn out to be, for us to have another bite at it. But there's a lot of ways that people will have seen it either as a 3-month holiday or as 3 months extra to prepare and get yourself even better. So I think it's going to be very apparent in a few weeks time what's happened.
Great stuff. And finally for me, of course, final round of the championship today, and we're going to be changing cars for the next championship. So what would you like to see being the new championship? What car would you really like to have a go in?
I wouldn't mind a BTCC Corolla. That would be fantastic. I think I might stand half a chance at that. But saying that, I didn't do that well in the in the TCR car, so I wouldn't hold that much hope. I don't know, something a little bit different. Maybe some single-seater stuff. I've seen that there's obviously some new single-seater updates coming in. But we've got plenty of awesome cars to choose from. So I'm sure the guys at Digital Motorsport will pick something right for the championship. Equally challenging as the last two cars have been, but provide good racing as well. So whatever it's going to be, I'm sure it'll be fantastic.
Great stuff. Well, thanks for joining us, Tom. Before you go, is there anyone you'd like to say a quick thank you to?
As always, both of you guys do a fantastic job. Thanks for having me at the end of the race each time, and keep up the good work. And I'll see you all soon.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Tom, for talking to us, and best of luck. We'll hopefully see you out on the real track very shortly.
Perfect. Cheers, Jack. Cheers, Sam. Thank you, mate.
Bye-bye. So that was Mr. Tom Ingram joining us in the commentary box once again, and it's always fantastic to hear.
Just losing Jack for a moment there. We've pretty much been problem-free, haven't we, for the whole season? It had to happen at some point. Like you were saying, Tom Ingram there. Been great to chat to Tom all season long. Oh, he's back again. I don't know where he went. Maybe up a beanstalk. I don't know. But he's back again, is Jack.
Yeah, I don't know what I did there. I hit a button, but anyway. That was the final round of the Digital-Motorsports.com Porsche Cayman Cup in association with Porsche Centre Dublin. Oscar Mangan, the champion, of course, and it's been fantastic to have the championship once again on Apex Racing TV. And of course, a big thank you on behalf of all the drivers to Niall, to Rob, and to Sean, who run everything behind the scenes. So I'm sure they do a lot of work behind the scenes, as well as the moderators, including Brian, Peter, Ronan, all involved in running this championship. And hopefully we'll be back again very shortly for a new championship in new cars and a new format, which we'll hopefully hear about in a couple of weeks. But we'll definitely be on a break while the guys sort out the next championship. But it's been fantastic, and hopefully we'll be back very shortly for another championship on the iRacing Esports Network on Apex Racing TV. We'll wait in due course for the announcement for that. But a massive thanks, of course, has to go to Sam and to Samily for being alongside me for the duration of this championship. My name has been Jack Allen, and we've been bringing you all the action here on Apex Racing TV and on the iRacing Esports Network. So until then, it has been a pleasure to bring you all the action, and we will see you very shortly for a new championship in the Digital-Motorsports.com series. Thank you all so much. Have a good evening, and we'll see you next time.